Okay, good evening. This is day number 132 of making little videos to describe a day or thought in the life of a schizophrenic. My name is Dominic, and I experienced schizophrenia probably for my whole life. And in day 17 of these videos, I express why I call myself schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And in day 45, I express why I make these videos in the first place. And it's a little intro for the first 3 minutes of that video. Then there's the rest of the video. I make these videos to express some amount of sanity amidst the world going crazy and using a cognitive war on me. And I trying to defeat the stigma of the mental illness of schizophrenia, probably to some degree. I'm trying to humanize myself, I think, with these videos and express some amount of sanity and ideas and thought processes which could have got me targeted. I express those thought processes in a book that I have written on medium.com. I'll try to publish it when I come back from a trip I'm taking in about a month to go on a hike. And so I'll start today talking about the Crow Fire at Camp Pendleton. And the other day I had started day 129 and restarting these videos again. And I express why I would talk about various things besides fascism, even though that's a worthy thing to talk about. And I had expressed some minutes on that video talking about the fires and how they can start by human hands or lasers or weapons or handheld lasers, satellite lasers, matches, blowtorches, various ways to start the fires. I mean, people remember you can do magnifying glasses and start fires. Anyways, so I express that there's dozens of people being found to start the fires, and there's these two mediums. One medium is saying global warming starting the fires, and I do think that fires can start because of global warming. And then the other medium is saying that people are starting these fires with various motives, and people are automatically going to take that and say there's political motive, and there probably is. And so, but when you have articles coming out and saying that it's started by global warming, people are going to disregard that and say that's bullshit and it's started by the, whoever is starting them. And there's probably various reasons why people are starting the fires, and it could be anybody, or it could be anybody, I should say. And one thing that's taking place is that people are disregarding how the environment is being destroyed by our system, and the people starting the fires are actually undermining that fact, because everybody who follows anything with regards to the military, which is probably a lot of people, knows that there are probably people starting these fires. And so it just undermines fighting global warming when you have articles saying the fires are started by global warming, because people are going to say, what, that's just doesn't fit. It's like a disconnect. Anyways, I had said that in the last video. I don't want to go over it. The crow fire, I said that with these crows above me, and there was a crow fire started today at Camp Pendleton. In previous videos months ago, I discussed how fires are started based on things that I do in my house, things I think, things I'm gonna eat, things I eat in the moment, or things or exercise that I do or don't do. They will start a fire. Anyway, so the crows above me and the crow fire at Camp Pendleton in San Diego was started today. That was all related to what I had said this about a day ago or 2 days ago. All right. So the other thing I was going to talk about is billionaires. You know, it used to be that billionaires gave back a lot of money to their communities, and it just seems like they're now starting to hoard more and more wealth. When you see like Elon Musk hoards $400 billion and tells people to eat beans because he eats beans and lives on a trailer or something. And the Carnegies, you go back in time, the Carnegies built all the public libraries in the nation at one point, and the Vanderbilts, and they built stuff for communities, for society, in hospitals and things like that. And I know they do, billionaires still do that kind of thing to some degree, but it just seems like there's less of it happening now. And it was just like, what if like every billion that a billionaire made, they gave a billion back to communities? And I was thinking like, what if, you know, I remember going to school and I got to spend time at a recreation facility called the Arc, and it was a exercise place with an indoor track, multiple indoor basketball courts, and Kobe Bryant used to come in there and he used to play at those courts or whatever, and it was for the students of this college or whatever. But like, what if there was multiple facilities like that all over Southern California in communities where they can help people, like, state of the art facilities, and it would cost, I guess, tens of millions, or I don't know how much that would cost to build in today's terms or whatever. But just like, what if they could build multiple of these things and great recreation and art centers for the arts, or like art museums, or more performing arts centers and stuff for people to use. Even kids can use them or something. I don't know. It just seems like we're in this system where all this wealth is going to so many or so few people, and we're not investing back in communities to help us enjoy time while we're alive on Earth. And they tell you to just enjoy your time on Earth, that you get your pittance of life that you get outside your job, and make the best of it or whatever. But it's like they're not investing in our communities. I don't Not like they used to, I don't think. And so it's like, we see somebody like hoarding $400 billion. You just think, imagine what you could do with that to enhance people's lives or whatever. That goes besides the fact of like just building homes for people so that they don't have to live on the street, you know. Uh, anyways, so I just thought that or whatever, and a lot of people have been saying that, and it made me think about it too. In my Lincoln book, I'll go back into my books that I read. In my Lincoln book, I read about the Cabot family, which is a famous Boston family, famous New England family, wealthy, well-to-do, prominent New England family. And they married one of the daughters of this family married a Theodore Parker, who a confidant or peer of Lincoln said was the closest thinker of his time to Lincoln, or that Lincoln was closely related to this Theodore Parker in thought processes. And this Theodore Parker, apparently he was a preacher, and he was an abolitionist, but he was also kind of a racist at the same time, even though he was against slavery. And this Theodore Parker, apparently, when he was a child, heard voices in his head, and he heard, I think, a woman or lady, if I'm not mistaken, is saying in his head while he was poking a turtle in down by a stream. Don't do it. Stop it because it is wrong. And it made me think about the voices in your head that you get and how they can be used to torment and torture people, and how people poke at you as a targeted individual or schizophrenic. And there's no voice in their head apparently saying, don't do it because it's wrong or whatever. There's some voice saying, do it because it's fun. I don't know. And anyways, the Cabot family made me think of the lady who was at the Coldplay concert who got caught cheating. And, or I said that because I don't know if it was a staged event. And she got caught cheating with the CEO of some astronomical astronomy place or something. So it's kind of weird that there was like stars or like space travel or something associated with that. And uh, the guy's name was Andy, and this lady looked like a lady that I they know is like a love interest of mine or whatever. And so there's that. I'm gonna say that right now, and I'm not trying to call anybody out or anything or say anything. I'm just saying they're putting this in the media and stuff like that for like targeting people and stuff. And it's like interesting that it's a Cabot family, and she had the face that she had or whatever. And the Cabot family is tied into this guy hearing voices in his head back in the 1800s, and now this lady is working for some astronomy star system company or something, or I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. But I thought that was kind of interesting. And so, I theorize that there's potentially like time travel, space travel, multi-dimensional people going back in time, and or like going through existing through time or whatever. And so yeah. And all right, so I just wanted to say that right now. And I was gonna say a little bit at another reference. There's another love interest of mine at one point where the lady's name is being used in the Ironheart thing, and they said it was your best friend in the Ironheart thing. I'm not gonna say the name, but like the Riri girl makes an AI, and it's of the best friend, and they are no longer there or anything, and the themes in that or whatever. And that is just like they're going one step further, because in these shows they usually have themes for my life or whatever. All movies, pretty much when you're schizophrenic or whatever, for me at the center, I don't even know, but like all movies have themes from my life and people from my life at the center of them. Oftentimes there's like a weaving. I've talked about that in a previous one. There's a weaving of names and actor names and character names interposed, and woven in with reference to my life and predictions of my life and stuff like that. So yeah. Anyway, so I was just gonna say, like, for instance, the Coldplay thing, they're using a face of a person that looks like a person, and they're using two names with regards to that. And so yeah. All right, so I was gonna talk about in my Olajuwon book. Uh, there was a Chris Pond who was a suspicious character who worked for the State Department, and or he they wasn't sure that he worked for the State Department. He said he worked for the State Department, but it was like apparently under the table or something, some shady dealing. I don't know. And he got Olajuwon to Houston to play college basketball in Houston and whatever. And it was just saying there's like a lot of like folklore or like myths regarding that, like that Olajuwon was going to go to Providence, or he was going to go to North Carolina or something, or St. John's and stuff. And none of that is apparently true. anyway, so I read that in my book, and I thought that was interesting that there was like this kind of scrupulous, or not scrupulous, but like interesting character working for the State Department with regards to that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And my in the book called A Language Older Than Words, Derek Jensen was talking about consciousness and how he was talking with a scientist at his he's talking to a scientist at his house, and they were doing experiments on plants and finding out that the plants had, I guess we call primary perception or something. And it was like plants had consciousness, and this scientist said that the brain being the center of consciousness, or the brain's relevance to consciousness is overblown. Uh, I don't know if that's true, but I guess there's experiments that people are doing on those things. I'm not really up on those, but I'm learning about that today. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and the idea that plants could have consciousness uh, is interesting to me, and uh, so yeah, uh, I learned about that today, and the idea that the brain is not necessarily may not be necessary for consciousness, and so uh, I learned about that today. So those are the things I learned about today. That was my day in the life of schizophrenia, and like I say, I'm just trying to express my sanity here while I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia and people are told I'm crazy and I'm subject to a cognitive war that NATO has termed these things. All right, goodbye.